I want to introduce Carolyn Hori, the master of inspired action, intuitive coach. As an intuitive coach, Carolyn is able to guide you towards recognizing and expanding the possibility are here to offer this world and how to make money in your mission. She accesses her gifts to help you efficiently move through the process of acknowledging and accepting your power and getting to the core thoughts which are keeping you from stepping into your soul aligned business or career. As a master of inspired action, Carolyn assists her clients by quickly uncovering that which is no longer serves you, intuitively guiding them to grow their business, which is aligned with Ikigai, a Japanese concept or reason for being. Remove blockages through individualized inspired action steps. Prior to finding her own true mission, Carolyn left a very successful 20 plus year in commercial real estate, working for ultra high net worth families as a specialist in assess management and managing assets all over the country. Carolyn grew up in Mission Viejo, California, and lives in Marina del Rey. Carolyn believes in seizing the day, and when she's not changing the world with her clients, you can find her on her bike or in the ocean as an avid cycler, world adventure traveler, and an avid scuba diver. Carolyn still maintains an active California real estate broker license and loves real estate investing. She's a passionate home chef, entertainer, and her motto is, quote, do or do not, there is no try, Yoda. I want to introduce Carolyn Hori. She's a good friend of mine and an amazing coach. And I know a lot of you have questions, but Carolyn, did you want to say a few words before we go into Q&A?
Thanks for that great introduction. Hi, everybody. It's so great to be with you. I really appreciate, Sana, you putting this all together for all of us. And I'm just happy to be here and excited to answer any questions that anybody might have tonight.
The way we're going to do this, because this is a webinar, it's not like a regular Zoom meeting. What you'll do is you click on the icon on the bottom and it says raise hand. So raise your hand and then you can ask your question. Does anyone have a question? Go ahead, Letty.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Letty.
I love that introduction.
Thank you.
And so I'm curious, like you, and I heard a little bit in the Journey to Prosperity in the website for Women of Prosperous Heart, and I was impressed. And I wanted to just ask you, like, how you went from being a self-proclaimed type A overachiever and complete with a glasses kind of lesson, six-figure real estate corporate career, to beach walking, life-loving, intuitive coach. Such a drastic change and amazing.
Thank you. Yes, it was and has been and continues to be a lifelong journey. I will say that. And Sana touched on it a little bit in my bio, but I was at the peak of my career. I was just had started what I thought was my dream job. I thought I was going to retire at this particular company and I was going to become the COO. And I loved real estate, as Sana mentioned. I've done everything there probably is to do in commercial real estate. And I just had a feeling, a knowing, an internal tapping that there was more for me out there. And that if I continued on this path to make very, 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 very rich people more money, that it was going to become increasingly unfulfilling and unsatisfying, which it had started already. So I had heard the call, but not really attended to it, which is very common with type A high performing people, is that sometimes we know that there's something more out there for us, but we are unwilling to face the facts that we might have to make major life altering changes. And so it was through a series of processes, and starting with self-development, I started with NLP, which is neuro-linguistic processing. And then ultimately I hired a coach, my first coach, that helped me quit my job. Then I hired a second coach, which helped me start my first business after I quit my job. And then I hired another coach that helped me start another business. And then ultimately I hired the coach that I still have today after 5 years, that has helped me become a coach and get to the place where I am now and where I coach other people. But it has been a journey. And that's really what I'm here to share, is that life is about the journey. It is not the destination, as a lot of us have realized during the past 18 months, or almost a little bit longer now, that, really it's how do we become extremely present to what is happening in each moment, and how do we embrace that moment with enthusiasm and vigor and determination in order to get to the next moment. But it has been something that I still practice and work on every day. And it's coming back to really being guided by the mission and what my mission is, which is to help other people uncover their mission. So the journey never ends, and it is a constant practice. It is a constant investigation within one's own self. And it's been a wild ride. And I quit in 2015. I jumped off the cliff, and here I am today, still standing and thriving and learning even more every day. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And I'll tell you, that is amazing and very inspiring.
Thank you.
So thank you. I'll let somebody
you.
else ask a question because I have another one, but I won't take all of your time first.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Just raise your hand. Okay. Okay, Donna, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Carolyn, for being here tonight. It's great to hear your story and to answer some questions. So I appreciate it. So thank you so much. You had once shared that your ideal clients are top performers. So I'm just curious, what makes someone a top performer, and why are they your ideal client?
So it's really interesting because through the pandemic, my business has shifted a little in that I am helping younger people, because younger people in their 30s and 20s have realized that they have dissatisfaction already. Through this period of time, they realize maybe what they were doing is not what they really feel in their heart and their gut that they should be doing. And even young people can be a top performer. And I'd say one of the characteristics that determines whether or not somebody is a top performer is willingness. Willingness to change and grow and learn and investigate and be uncomfortable. So that's one thing that makes people a top performer in my mind. Another thing is that someone has had an idea or a feeling or an inner knowing of what success is for them. So success is not the same for every person. And for me, success is freedom, freedom in all areas. It is not how much money I make. It is not my home. It is not the trips, the cars, the clothes, the shoes. It is really how free can I be? Free financially, free to work with whom I want, when I want, where I want. Can I work from anywhere in the world? That is my idea of success. So another quality of a top performer is someone that has had some success and knows what that is for them. And it doesn't matter your age, you can still have had success at a young age. And then I'd say the third quality, which defines top performers, are people with a growth mindset. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the book Growth Mindset or Mindset by Carol Dweck, which is a book I highly recommend. But a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset is somebody who, like I mentioned, is willing and always looking to see how they can improve. And I would say that most of the people that are on this call tonight, and hopefully those that are listening to the recording, you have a growth mindset. You're here because you want to learn something new, and you're willing to see what, Sana's guests have to offer. And a growth mindset will get you very, very far in all areas of life. So I'd say those are the three main characteristics, which for me determines an ideal client and a top performer.
Thank you, Carolyn. I have a question. You had advice for young women who are coming of age and making career choices that will impact their future. What advice would you give them?
So the number one thing that I would say, and I say this to my nephew who's a sophomore at UCSD and to young people that I coach and work with, is don't be afraid to fail. You must fail. One of the problems facing our youth today is that they have been so sheltered and so conditioned to have everything go right for them. And we have to fail. And the more you can fail at a young age, honestly, the more comfortable you can get with taking risks And the more comfortable you can get with things maybe not going exactly as you thought they would. So I would say take risks and fail, meaning that you're trying, you're reaching, you're growing, you're experiencing, you're going for it. And failure is not bad. It is how we learn to deal with the ups and downs that life is inevitably going to throw at us. So I always give that advice to my young clients and friends, children.
That's great. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? I see that you do, Letty.
One of the big leaps that you talk about is like, Carolyn, you mentioned that you rarely advise your clients to quit their soul crushing jobs without a new source of income, but yet your own journey made you do that. So I was just curious, when might you advise someone to take that leap?
So it's very interesting because it's like I say to a lot of people, not all people are meant to be homeowners. Okay, owning a home is a pain in the butt. For those of you that are homeowners, it's not always all it's cracked up to be. People are always saying, oh, I want the deduction. Oh, I want the status. Oh, I want, but not everybody else is cut out to be a homeowner. It's the same thing with not everybody else. Not everybody is cut to quit your job like I did and walk away from, a lucrative career and everything that I had always known and how I had identified myself. And for me, it needed to be that big in order for it to really sink in and take flight. And not everybody is cut out to do that though. So you have to have a very strong sense of who you are, survival, that you will survive anything, that you can handle it, that you're not that afraid of failure, that failure is not an option for you, that you will pick yourself up. Like for me, I always knew that if this didn't work, I've been working since I was 14. My first job was cleaning offices at night after school with my mom's friend who had a cleaning business. Then I taught tennis. I was a waitress. I've always worked. And so in my mind, I was like, well, I'll either go back to real estate or I can be a barista at Starbucks or I could be a waitress. Like if anything ever got that bad, I always knew that I had a strong work ethic and that I'm a survivor and a thriver and that I would figure it out. So I knew that I would never be destitute and homeless. I would figure out something and that my skill set and my work ethic would get me through. So it's very rare that I advise people nowadays to do what I did because most people, it will break them and it will crush them. So what I really advise is let's figure out a plan to get you started on your path. And that's why I created my online course, which is called Give Your Soulless Job the Pink Slip. And it's an online course and group coaching course. And I'm actually starting it this Saturday. If anyone's interested, reach out to me. It's going to be 4 Zoom sessions plus online study, but because it eases people into the process of really thinking about what they want to do next. It helps them identify things that could be their mission and their purpose. And it just eases you into this idea because for most people, it's too much. And the panic, I don't have kids. I don't have anybody to support. So for me, it was just myself. And there wasn't that huge of a risk involved in doing that. So it just was some money. And I always felt like you can always make more money. So for me, it was really looking at, if I don't do this, will I regret it? Yes. And time was of the essence. When I quit, I was 44. And so it was kind of like this feeling of, okay, are you going to get started in what you know is your purpose and your mission here now? Or are you going to just keep delaying, which I felt like I had already been delaying for several years. So it was time to kick myself in the butt and jump off the cliff.
Wow, that's an inspiring story, definitely. One worth telling. Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
That is it's a big leap. It's not just
yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That was
thank you.
Great question, and thanks for the answer. Anyone else have any questions? Carrie?
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for being
Nice to meet
here.
you.
I don't know why I'm nervous to ask this question. My heart's beating. So basically, I just want to ask, what, everyone has off days, off weeks, off moments. What would you say motivated you even on your hardest days?
Thank you. Great question. Nice to meet you, Carrie. every day, I was just telling my friend that, people often think, oh, Carolyn's got it together, and for the most part, yes, I do have it together. I'm very fortunate, but we all have those days. And, I want to tell you that it doesn't matter if you're a coach or a billionaire, because I've worked with billionaires, everyone has those moments and those days, and sometimes weeks, and sometimes months.
Mhm.
And it's a great question, but I keep coming back to saying to myself, I am okay in this moment. When it's really dark, you start with that. You start with saying, I am okay in this moment. I am okay in this moment. I am okay in this moment. And then you start to break it down, like, what is the cause of my discontent? And most of the time, the cause of the discontent is believing that things should be different.
Mm.
And when we should all over ourselves, it's like we're shoulding all over ourselves. And that's when we're thinking, oh, I wish it was different. I think it should be different. But the fact of the matter is, it is exactly like what it is. So the next step is acceptance of
Mm.
exactly where you are, right? Like, you're in this moment. This moment is here. This moment is here to present you an opportunity. And then it's awareness to move to the next moment. And what's one thing that I can do? I always like to start small and give my clients actionable ways and actionable things that you can take home with you. That's why I call myself the master of inspired action, because what's the next one thing? Just one thing, not a whole life plan, not 10 goals, not I'm going to lose 50 pounds and I'm going to conquer the world and I'm going to leave my job. But what's the one next thing that you can do that will raise your vibrational state? Is that going outside? Is that petting your dog? Is that playing with your cat? Is that gardening? Is that taking a walk? Is that calling a friend? Is that meditating? And it's really important to build that toolbox of things that that are your go-tos. So, like, what can you reach in that toolbox? And in minutes, you can shift your vibration from a lower state to one vibrational state higher. And then it's just a constant practice of doing that. It's a constant practice of awareness, recognizing, realizing, and then just taking a small little action to not stay in that low vibration state, which leads to the rabbit hole. That's what, if you stay in that low vibrational state, that's the thing that will lead you to the rabbit hole, which is where we don't want to go. I hope that answers your question, but it's a great question.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, both of you. I think Donna has a question.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. So I was just curious if the pandemic has changed the way that you coach, and if so, how?
The pandemic has definitely changed the way that I coach, because the world is your oyster. I think it's all ladies, but ladies, the world's your oyster. So there's so many opportunities now that didn't exist necessarily before the pandemic and that are existing remotely. So there is so much opportunity, and so many people are more willing to meet on Zoom and to work remotely and to do things over the phone and to do groups and to meet in communities. And I really just see that everything is really shifting towards, I said this a year ago, and Sana was at a talk that I gave literally days before the first shutdown in March of 2020. And I said that, your intuition, your gut, your inner knowing is the new commodity. It used to be, how much did you know? Who did you know? Now it's really like, how can we shift to our heart? That's why women have prosperous hearts. How can we shift to our heart? How can we shift to our inner knowing? How can we utilize our intuition and our gut instincts? And so really, I was on the path already to start really teaching people and showing people and holding people's hand through that process of learning how to intuitively make decisions. But now more than ever, I see that is so important. So my coaching is not as, my coaching was never, okay, step one, step two. It's not like that, because everyone is so individualistic. But really now it's really teaching people how to use your own internal guidance system in order to make the right decisions for you. Because even more and more, like, if there's one thing I want to leave you with tonight, is that your heart is your greatest asset, is your greatest gift, is the thing that is going to help define your mission and your purpose and where you're going to go from here. So I want everybody to really practice using that inner guidance system, which is so powerful and so much more powerful than what we ever thought, was our education or how many people you knew or how many deals you could close. It's really all about the heart going forward.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Letty, do you have any questions?
I mean, I had a question, but I think you answered it in the last explanation because, and it was like, so what is the difference between like a regular like life coach to an intuitive coach? And if you want to expand, but what I heard is that coaching comes from your heart rather than the head more.
Yes, that's true. And I also utilize my intuitive abilities to help my clients make decisions. So I will help my clients answer questions, or I can talk to my clients' higher selves. And so that's really just me talking to your soul and bringing out things that you maybe have never wanted to say to somebody, or you've never uttered out loud to somebody, or you wondered about something, or your soul has wondered about something. And so I use my abilities with my intuition in order to help bring that forward. So it is a little bit different than just a typical coach where it's maybe more structured. I'm really talking to a deeper part of yourself. And again, maybe something that you've never wanted to really ask or tell anybody else. Letty, I feel like you have a question, a personal question. Do you have a personal question?
I'm between like jobs or careers or whatever. And I was kind of like, just kind of in a space where I wasn't not sure like what to do next. And not so much like in my head what to do next, but even in my heart what to do next.
Are you a caretaker, or do you take care of people, or are you in the
well, I'm
health
taking
industry?
care. Yeah, right now in this present moment, I am. I'm taking care of my aging parents who are in Arizona. So doing a lot of traveling, and also my father-in-law. So therefore, so it's like I have very interrupted time right now. It's never the same, because people or doctors or whatever I need to deal with.
Yeah. So one of the things I would suggest for you specifically, Letty, is really carving out time for yourself on a scheduled basis, meaning that because you are a caretaker and that is your personality and that is what you are doing right now. And I never met Letty before, everybody. So, but this is kind of how I work, is that you've got to start by just carving out quiet time in nature. I see you hiking or walking. I don't know if those are things that you enjoy, but hiking or walking or getting out in nature, and then coming back to a journal or a notebook and just writing down thoughts that you have. You have like a wide variety of skill set, but you're holding yourself back a little bit because you don't feel like you know what to do. But your inner guidance system does know what to do, but you just have to start letting it flow. And right now it's been very stifled because you've been helping everybody else. And this is something that I think has been happening for a long time, is that you're this caretaker type personality and you put everybody else before your own needs. But it really is time for Letty to come out and shine. And the way to start getting in touch with that is through having scheduled quiet time for yourself. There's a book, it's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a great book. And in there she's, okay, yeah.
I haven't read it, but I have it.
Yes, I thought you might know it. So I think it's time to bring that book out and to start reading it. And one of the things every week that you do in that book, it has a series of exercises, and it's great because it has great structure. And that is a book that sits on the shelf until you're ready. And I suggest that you take yourself on an artist date. So that's a scheduled time where it's just you, and you just go do something for yourself. It doesn't have to be like painting or drawing, but it's time where you're spending time in nature or spending time with yourself, doing something that you enjoy. And that, Letty, is going to start to unleash some of the ideas and the creativity that you have that has been a little bit buried. and that you have put on the back burner in order to take care of other people.
You definitely.
Okay, does
resonate.
that resonate? Okay, I'm
Very
glad.
much
I'm
so.
glad that
Very much.
it does. But that book would be awesome for you right now in your
Okay.
time.
I'll
I know
bring it
you're
out from the shelf.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly. I know your time is limited, but just read it in little bits and do some of the exercises that she has in there. They're very fun. Don't overwhelm yourself with it. Don't think that you have to do all of the exercises, but start taking yourself on an artist date and then keep a little journal about that. And you're going to see when you just carve out time for yourself. It's so important, ladies, that we all carve out personal time for ourselves. We're wives, we're mothers, we're friends, we're aunts, we're employees, we're business owners, and you've got to make time, personal time, to connect to yourself. And that's how I start to teach my clients to connect to their intuition, is by carving out quiet time. You don't have to call it meditation. You don't have to call it, silence or chanting or anything. It's just time for yourself where you're doing something that fuels your soul and your heart. That's so vitally important now more than ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask you, Carolyn, to reveal some of your trade secrets. How does one live a meaningful and balanced life and a career? And what practice should people engage in daily to accomplish that?
Well, I just touched on it, but a morning routine is something that I am a huge believer in. So my morning routine is I get up anywhere between 6 and 7. I immediately do meditation for a minimum of 25 minutes. And I drink a ton of water, like 24 ounces. So I always encourage people to have a big bottle right next to your bed. So I drink a lot of water. And then I do not look at my device, and I do some type of movement. And whether it's yoga, walking, working out, some type of body movement. And then I do some type of journaling. So I use a high performance planner from Brendan Bouchard, or I use the 5-minute journal app, which is amazing, which you can download from the App Store. And it has a lot of prompts, and you talk about gratitude. So I do a planning session for myself and a journaling session for myself. And I really don't start the day by looking at the device. That is really, really important. So I keep that on do not disturb. And also my morning routine is so precious to me. So I really don't book appointments until at least 10 o'clock. And I know not everybody has the luxury to do that, but starting off the day with quiet time, self-reflection, and being able to get in my workout and my meditation and my journaling is super important. And then, eating something clean and healthy, and limiting who I interact with in the morning. And one of my trade secrets too, I would say, is I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I shouldn't say TV. I'm actually giving up TV for a month. I started this 30-day challenge yesterday, but I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. I don't watch the news. If I need to get my news, I am very intentional about how and where I get my news. And I've been doing this for years, and it just works because I don't get the negative inputs that the news tends to bring into our lives. And it doesn't start me on this path of worry. So I'd say living a meaningful life for me involves being really intentional about definitely how I spend my mornings, but definitely how and who I spend my time with. So I encourage all of my clients to proceed with everything that you do with intention. I like to set an intention for everything that I do, even if it's a lunch, even if it's cooking, even if it's, all of my coaching sessions, I have an intention, my clients set intention. Even tonight, my intention was just to hopefully meet all of you and just share anything that I could share that might be helpful to anyone that's listening or on this webinar. So those are some of my trade secrets.
That's beautiful. What is the one daily practice that you perform that's the most important to you, and why?
Meditation, hands down. It's the thing that, it sounds cliche, but I always wanted to learn to meditate. And it wasn't until I quit my job and I really got more serious about being consistent it's not a certain type of meditation. It changes for me, but it is intentional, quiet time every day. And I tell people all the time, like, meditation is not to clear your mind, because I always thought, oh, I've got to clear my mind. Well, my mind doesn't work like that. I love to have ideas. I am a thinker. I love to think about things, learn new things. So it's not necessarily that my mind is going to be clear. It's accepting that the thoughts will come in and letting the thoughts go. And that has been a game changer. And you hear so many people talking about, oh, meditation, but honestly, it has changed the way I react to almost everything. And what Carrie was saying earlier, how do you deal with when you have these curveballs or things, these down days? And honestly, meditation has helped me so much with that, because it brings me back to the present moment. And I always share with people, like, this is the moment. This is all we've got. We have no idea what's going to happen at 7:10. We've only got 7:09 right now. And, how are you going to spend this moment? Are you going to spend it worrying? Are you going to spend it thinking about something in the past? Are you going to spend it thinking about the future, which may never happen? Or are you going to be present at 7:09 and just be super grateful that I'm on this call with all of you, and this may be it? Who knows, right? So meditation has really helped me be very present and stop thinking about the past and worrying about the future. Meditation, huge proponent of meditation.
I've used Carolyn Hori for coaching. She's pretty incredible. I always did a unique way of wanting to be coached, and she was flexible in doing that. And I believe she does talk to your higher self. She's very intuitive. She'll answer questions about things that you never thought about. And she brings that out because she is an intuitive coach. So if you are interested in using her services, she's on our website under our directory, and you can contact her there, or I can put her information right here in the chat if you don't mind giving me your phone number, Carolyn.
Sure. The best way to contact me, and I'm happy to do a free 30-minute consultation with anybody here. And the best way to do that is just book a time on my website, through my website, carolynhori.com. And on there is a way to reach me, but literally you can book a clarity consultation directly from there. It just opens up to my calendar. You pick a time that works for you. And I'm happy to talk to any one of you and answer any questions that you may have. And if you're interested in working together, it's a great way to see if we would be a fit to doing that. But I love what I do. It's my mission. It's my passion. It's what I'm here to do right now, especially more than ever. And I really feel that the more people that are working in their purpose, we can change the world. And the world is rapidly changing right now. And this is the time to embrace any idea or anything that you've ever had that pulls at your heart, that tells you, I am meant for more. And I know a lot of you have that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this call and you wouldn't be a part of Women of Prosperous Heart. So I encourage you to reach out. Happy to talk to anybody and would love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for attending this evening. We did record it. It will come up on YouTube in the next couple of days, probably early next week. So if you want to hear this again, and I hope it's okay with all of you that we put it on YouTube. If you don't agree, just let me know. But I really appreciate everyone's attendance, and especially Carolyn. Thank you so much. I appreciate your gifts, and truly you could feel that you are living your purpose.
Thank you so much, Sana, for inviting me and having me, and thank you for doing all that you're doing. And I wanted to invite you all. I have a monthly Zoom event. It's called We Are the Wayseers, and it's going to be this Saturday, the 11th of December. It's at 8 a.m. on Zoom, and you can find out more information on my website. But this month is going to be about talking to your angels. So I have a different speaker each month, and I bring people that I believe are wayseers and that are, helping to raise the vibration of the planet and change the world and create the world that we are looking to live in. So I think Sana is definitely doing that. And thank you for all you're doing in that regard, Sana. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you all for being here tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next month. if you have time, attend Carolyn's Wayseer and also take advantage of her 30-minute.
Clarity consultation.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you.
Have a good evening.